We've got Rob Winters. Rob, good afternoon to you, my friend.
Good afternoon, Pat. I have seen way too much of you this week.
I know you have, and which takes us back to the Fanny story. No, but we had a great time out there Wednesday, didn't we?
Absolutely. You know, of course, you parked in one place and me running around like a chicken with a head cut off, trying to get as many people as possible to come and chat with you. And that's always fun. You know, we kid about it and everything, but that is just one of the funnest 3 hours for me, you know, is chasing down people to talk to you about what's going on at the Fort Wayne Farm Show, and had some great guests.
Yeah, and I can always tell when you found another guest, because clear across the room I hear people screaming, "No, Rob, no, don't make me go over there and talk to him. Stop it."
Yeah. Make room, coming through. Yep. Make way, coming through.
No, and I will tell you, all of them great guests. Each and every one that we had. You know, there wasn't a burnout one in the whole bunch. But I got to tell you, I think when we talk to the FFA kids, this happens every year, Rob. That's always the highlight for me. I get so excited when I see kids that young, and this happens a lot where they're taking like their gap, break between high school and college. They've allotted themselves a year, and some of them dedicate themselves to be part of the board for FAA, and that was certainly the case for the two we had on the platform. But I just get so jazzed when I hear them, so excited about what they're doing.
Well, you just said FAA. I don't think any of them are flying at this point, but the FFA, yeah. You know, and the thing is that I'm going to cut you some slack and beat you up anytime I get.
I know you are.
But the deal with the FFA kids is that we got the best of the best.
Yeah.
You know, we got the president of the FFA kids. Okay, so I mean, we got the top tier there, and yes, I am totally with you. And I was having a discussion with somebody at the Fort Wayne Farm Show about, when you meet an FFA student, you are just so impressed that you come away asking yourself, why don't we take a chapter out of their book, whatever it is, and integrate that into the public school system? Because these kids are just amazing.
Well, they really are, and it's not like they're in FFA because they've been forced to, or mom or dad or grandpa made them do it. This is something they wanted to do, but because of the influence of like a mom or a dad or a grandma or a grandpa or whatever, or all the above, they're really knee deep into it almost before they even get started. The young lady who's the president this year, she was. I mean, as soon as I said her name and said hi, welcome to the program, I mean, she was lit up and ready to go.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing that you understand about these kids is that they have that ability through all of their training and all of the activities that they get to be subjected to within the scope of FFA, starting very early on. That they're very comfortable in front of a microphone. They're very comfortable, to come in, sit down, have a conversation, an adult conversation,
right?
And gosh, you just don't see that very much. And then, of course, we get an opportunity to talk about one of my favorite institutions, and bring Nate Perry on from Huntington University. And when we talk about the quality of those kids in FFA, if you're ever worried about the next generation, just talk to an FFA student. But Huntington University, that's where they get their best students, because they are ready to hit the ground running when they hit the university level.
Well, and and when we talked to him from Huntington University, we talked to him the first time, I think it was 9 years ago, and that's when they were just starting their agricultural program at Huntington, right. And I think they had a whole 18 students, I think, in the program,
that's
and now they're like 80 or 90 in the program. They've partnered with Purdue. There's a place for these kids to come, and when they're done going through that program there in Huntington, there's a place for them to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was about 8 or 9 years ago, and Nate was just getting into, trying to launch that program. And because, the waiting list, and I'm talking to the show folks, it's about 49 or 50 different companies on the waiting list to get into the Fort Wayne Farm Show. So It's a pretty big deal. And Nate had gotten in and, begged and cajoled and did whatever he could to grovel on his knees and get just a little bit of space. They gave him a table and a chair out backed up to the wall out of the hallway, and I came upon him back then, and I stopped, and just because I was so curious, who is this guy?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Up against a wall out here in the hallway, and I started just having a conversation with him. One thing led to another. We've become very good friends because I am behind that university and that farm program, that ag program. Out there at Huntington University, just 110%, because they're doing just some great things with kids. One of the other things that I was so proud that we were able to get was one of the probably top 4 commodity analysts in the entire country.
No kidding.
Was at the show, Arlen Suderman, and he can make you feel stupid real quick.
Yeah. He had me down in the dumb cellar in about 5 minutes. So
yeah, he's just a fascinating guy to talk to, because if it has anything to do with food and getting it from point A to your plate, and that includes all over the world, both exports and imports into the country. If it has to do with food, he is a guy who really understands what's going on with it. So I was really pleased to be able to grab him for a couple of minutes and get him to agree to come on and sit down with you. And that was a hard sell, I got to tell you.
Well, sure, because the guy's got a brain. You want me to go talk to who? Another thing, too, the young man I talked to that was from the company that was there selling some of the large equipment, and we were looking at that sprayer over there that was on the other side of the room from us, and it looked like it takes about a city block. This thing was enormous. I could not believe the capability of that machinery. And I'll just tell you the one thing about it. When they told me that, because they've got so many things loaded into the machine, that as it's going through the field, if it's going through it at about 10 to 15 miles an hour, it might notify the farmer in the machine, hey, we're going to slow down, in about 80 feet, because there is a weed that we don't want in the field. I've got the poison on board for that weed, and it zooms in on it, slows down to like 2 miles an hour, and then zaps that weed. That is absolutely, that's NASA stuff to me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's lunar lander all over the place. And when you say 12 miles an hour going through the field, you got to understand it. Only about 8 to 10 years ago, we were going on at a clip of about 3.5 or 4 miles an hour.
Yep.
So when you're scooting along at 12, and it can ID that thing from about 50 to 80 feet out in front of you, and then slow down and suggest that we got a little activity going on here, and then shoot a spray that's about as big as the lead on a pencil. Okay, it's not very big. It's smaller than a straw in your soda drink. Okay?
Yeah, it almost doesn't even seem possible. And I didn't say, oh, yeah, show me, because I was afraid that they'd set that thing up to shoot me. So,
well, it would identify you and it would say, yeah, we don't want that around here. So it probably squirts you right in the middle of the chest. Yeah, that's, when I was thinking about, okay, what kinds of things, might Pat want to talk about? Or maybe what kinds of things might we be able to just thrill and amaze him with? And that's when I thought, there's so much high-tech stuff that people just don't understand is out there and a part of the, normal farming operation these days. Several years ago, it wasn't even a thought.
Oh, no.
I remember doing a field day when the very first time when GPS was getting into the cab, and it was a field day, and they were doing aftermarket stuff. Okay, so it didn't come, as standard equipment in some of the tractors and combines and so forth. So this company was doing aftermarket applications into the cab of these things. And so they did a big field day, brought a bunch of farmers out, and the farmers looking at it, and it's like, you have a computer screen in the cab of this thing? We never had one of those.
Yeah.
And they're pretty skeptical about it. And just in the last 8 to 10 years, we've, just GPS alone, just one technical advancement, GPS, has revolutionized things like you can't imagine.
Oh, I know. It absolutely is crazy and incredible. So, again, great equipment that they had out there, a fantastic program for agriculture going on at Huntington University in partnership with Purdue. Some terrific kids from FFA that were there. And I know every year you're going to have the president of FFA and one other member of their board that'll be on with me. And I already know, before I know if it's a boy or a girl, what age they are or anything, I already know they're going to blow me away because that's the way they are every year. FFA is incredible with young people, and it's doing a lot for them.
Yeah, always fun to talk to those kids. And like I always say, if you have any doubts about the next generation, talk to an FFA kid.
Oh, I know. I need to talk to FFA too to see if they can provide, I don't know, show producers, news people, things like that. So we could
some training for you, perhaps.
Watch yourself. Watch yourself, sir. Hey, Rob, seriously, thank you very, very much for what you did for us.
Always fun, Pat. Always fun.
Yeah, well, you make that a very easy day for me, and I appreciate it. Hey, take care of yourself. Tell us before you go, when do we hear you on WOWO? I know you're on every morning at 5 o'clock after the music of Little Red Barn, but you're also on the weekend.
Saturday morning, 8 o'clock. Tomorrow morning, I am busy right now in my studio at home here and working on tomorrow's program. And tomorrow, actually, there's a very important interview that I've got about crop insurance. This is the time of year when farmers are battling, not battling, but certainly battling their computer. Because they're sitting there trying to figure out exactly what they need to do and what's available as well. And I got a great interview about that. Tomorrow morning. Starts at 8 o'clock every Saturday morning, 8 o'clock, Midwest Ag Matters, right here on WOWO.
There you go. Rob, thanks so much.
You betcha, bud.
Yep, talk to you again soon. Rob Winters, who's been around WOWO forever, and the guy knows everybody in ag all over the state, in fact, all over the region. People coming up to him like crazy out there when we're out there at the farm show, and they come up and they point and go, hey, there he is, and they're not talking to me, they're talking to him. So, and let me just say this too. We had a lot of people in the farm community come by our studio there at the Coliseum, there in the exposition hall where the farm show was. Very nice comments. Hey, Pat, we listen to you every day. Hey, man, great shows, good stuff. Hey, listen, that means more to me than you could possibly know, because I happen to know that some of the greatest people, and I'm talking down in the depth of your soul, some of the greatest people in our area are our area farmers, and you guys make it so awesome and so wonderful, and I'm so very glad that you guys are part of our show, and you're there. And then the one lady that came up to me and she offered me, she said, I know you like pie because I hear you talk about it. She goes, there's 2 or 3 different kinds I make. What kind do you want me to bring back for you? And I said, Kim, are you listening? I said, no, I really, 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 really can't. I mean, I love it. Thank you very much, but I just can't. And then she looked at me like, well, how come? I said, because I like sleeping indoors.
Podcasts by Federated Media.